And welcome back to Success Made to Last. I'm Rick Tokeny. The show is brought to you by Edward Jones Financial Advisors. Our very special guest today is Ethan Drower. He's the CEO and co-founder of CiteMed. They leverage a software platform, and it's built in-house to perfect the formatting of uniform and error-free submissions. And we are so glad to have you on today, Ethan, and we're going to explore your company and some of the great solutions that you guys have come up with. Welcome.
Thanks so much, Rick. I'm excited to be on and ready to dig into it.
Very good. Before we do that, tell us about yourself and where you're from originally, and kind of lead us up to the when CiteMed was founded.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am from Chicago originally. I'm a trained software engineer. I went to university there, studied computer science. And for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been building CiteMed. And it's kind of been an interesting run because since inception, we've been building the company entirely remotely. And so our team has been all over the globe. I've been all over the globe. And I'm coming to you right now from Portugal. So we've tried to build and maintain a team all fully distributed. Everybody's traveling or in different locations, and that's proven to be its own set of unique challenges and learning points. So it's been quite the ride for us and for me personally.
Mm. You're reporting from one of my favorite countries in all the world. Uh-huh. Are you working there as a digital nomad on a long-term basis or short-term basis?
It is short-term for now. I will likely be rotating back to North America soon, but it's always nice. This is a great place to kind of take our European meetings, and we have several contacts out here, so it's easy to be in the neighborhood, so to speak.
You bet. How did CiteMed? How was it born? When did the light bulb go on?
The light bulb went on in a very almost cliche way. It was a dinner table conversation with my father, who ultimately became a partner in the company, and he provided the insight into the regulatory industry. He's had one of those massively successful and detailed careers in regulatory and pharmaceuticals and medical devices. And he was complaining to me about a new regulation in Europe that was causing lots of pain for one of his companies. And that's kind of when the bulb came on for me, because the problems that they were facing were reasonably easily solved with kind of an innovation in software and kind of a leap in a technological approach. So when I heard about the problems that they were facing with getting their documents submitted, conducting research, doing, processing a lot of data, it was a huge market and a huge problem. And it's one that, my team and myself are qualified to solve. So we just started digging into it, and kind of the rest is history. Mm-hmm. We've been following down the path for years and continuing to build and refine our tools and our team.
Oh, fantastic! And for those that know nothing about your company, tell us the kind of the elevator speech.
The shortest way to explain it
actually do
possible is that we help medical device companies, so anybody that makes things from hospital gowns to pacemakers, we help them get their products approved and prove that they are safe to use, specifically within Europe. So within that's a pretty big area, but that's the overall mission of our company is to prove as many devices are safe to use as possible. And that is what enables our clients to gain the approval to sell them. Yeah,
now that is a giant solar system that you've entered into. And so where are there boundaries? Because
It
is it
is
products in general
anything
to
that
the
is
medical
used or
industry?
considered a medical device needs to go through an approval process. So that's a hip implant, that's a latex glove,
Yeah.
a hospital bed, pretty much any product that is purchased and used in a hospital or a clinic setting has to go through a increasingly strict process for approval. And it's an old industry. People do everything on paper. There's not a lot of trust to technology in the same way. And that's kind of where the opportunity lies, because it's a complicated process. And the better you get at it, the more devices you can bring to market and the more people you can help. So for us, it's a very passionate issue, because the more you can reduce the red tape, the more companies can focus on innovation, which in the medical industry means more lives saved and improved. So we're very committed to making that process as cheap and streamlined as possible for companies, especially startups.
You took the words right out of my mouth, because I was going to say, did you leap from success to significance? Because now all of a sudden here's a Chicago, well-educated software engineer, son of a very successful guy, and you leap to this industry of helping save lives
we're trying
and improve
to.
lives.
It's kind of an overlooked industry, Rick, because everybody looks at the top tier innovators, we call them, right? The people making the things. And the more I learned about this industry, the more I realized that it's kind of like anything. The more rules you have, the safer an environment you create, but also it makes it a more formidable and expensive environment for a new company to approach. And the more of these really incredible medical device entrepreneurs I spoke to, the more the problem appeared, which is that any idea that they want to test and bring to market in Europe, it's costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars to essentially apply and not even guarantee that their acceptance. So if we can do anything to reduce that cost and that burden and that risk by 25% or 50% in some cases, then that's a massive amount of value that's unlocked for innovation in this industry, because people can take a shot. They can take a shot and build a product that that can potentially become state of the art and used across the world.
So you and your team have collaborated to become the gateway for these inventors and these patent holders. And now all of a sudden the gates are starting to open because of your efficiency and your process. Give me a success example, one that perhaps you're most proud of, that you go, if there's one story I need to tell today, this is the story of CiteMed and how we move this product from being 100%. Blocked
and those are always
globally
those
used.
are always the best stories, right? And to give you a little bit more context, Rick, we've built kind of a series of software tools, right? We're software people and regulatory people. So we've built a series of these tools that allow us to get these reports and these documents done quicker, faster, higher quality. And one company we worked with this year, they had attempted to submit their documents. They're called literature reviews and clinical evaluation reports. Not that it matters right now. They submitted their documents. They essentially got rejected and received a whole list of black marks on their reports saying these need to be corrected, et cetera, et cetera. And by the time they came to us, they were pretty destitute, because they had less than a few weeks, less than 2 to 3 weeks to correct their documents and submit again for their final chance at approval. And the only other hopes that they had were kind of these consulting firms and these bigger enterprises who quoted them much more money than they could afford, and also timelines that would take months. And when they called me, and I guess maybe they saw an interview or they found us online, they called me and they said, listen, to be totally transparent, we've got days, not months. So can you help us? Can you save this process? And thankfully, we've invested so much money and so many years in our people and our, building out our proprietary software. I was able to kind of rally the troops and say, guys, this is going to be a few very long nights, but this is the end of the line for this company. So do we want to do it? And we're just fortunate also to have just an exceptional amount of high caliber folks on our team that share the vision. And so it was amazing to see the team rally and say, okay, it's gonna be tough. There's not going to be much sleep this week, but we're going to get it done for this company, and we're really going to put our money where our mouths have been, and really stick it out. And we were able to get them the reports that they needed. They slipped right through the auditors. They got them approved, and that company went on to maintain their certification status and sell their products in Europe under the new reg. So just a massive win for them, and a really almost emotional win for our team that gave it all they had in a week, in a few days time. The team really just kind of built that confidence, saying, okay, we know that our software is top tier globally for this process. We know what we're doing, and we're getting even further, even more examples of submissions where we've nailed it, right? And the more you can do that, the more confidence your people have, and just kind of further strengthens that resolution of, okay, what we're doing is having an impact. And that's just, that's the best feeling. That's the best feeling there is.
That's a feeling of significance, because it wasn't about just money. I mean, this was like we said, it was a seminal moment for CiteMed.
I post a lot of our team's content there, or you can find us at citemedical.com, and all of our articles are there as well, all of our info.
Very good. Just got a couple more questions based on that brilliant example you just gave. I would love for you to kind of fly at 30,000 feet for a second and talk about the lessons that you learned from that experience of building
team
a
building
cohesive
has kind of
team.
been a priority for me personally, and obviously for CiteMed as a whole over the last few years. It really stems down to, at the highest level, it stems down to finding the right people, and everything else kind of doesn't matter after that, is what we've learned. So to dig into that a little bit more, because that's a really broad statement, we have, instead of trying to optimize and build the best processes and have detailed instructions that a robot can do, what we've actually found far more success in putting all of our efforts towards recruitment and to defining the right type of fit for our team. And that's personality, that's motivation, skill set, obviously, but personality and motivation and just overall competency have kind of been the big drivers of how we construct our teams, because we've found that it's far more effective to empower the right people to build the processes and organize themselves than it is for me or senior management to say, this is how we're going to do everything. We just need people to slot into, our master plan. The more experience I've gotten as an entrepreneur, the more I've realized that there is no master plan, and you need good people that are willing to adapt and willing to drive the process forward, in the trenches, so to speak. So for me, it's about, how do you find those empathetic, intelligent, kind people that are truly motivated by the same, the same overall goal. And it's not money, as you alluded to. You cannot build a team around just compensation. There has to be a mission. There has to be something to hang on to.
No. That's right. That's right. When did you become or have this abundance mentality that you should be hiring people smarter than you?
After maybe 2 or 3 failed previous ventures is when, I had to pick up the shattered bits of my own ego and self-image of being a master software person and entrepreneur. And I had to realize that if I'm ever gonna do this, I need to, invest in people that can do these things better than I can. And then that's okay. The founder's skill set shouldn't be the best person in the company at everything. They should arguably be the worst person at all of the things. And the only skill set that really matters for somebody that's a CEO or a founder is, okay, how do you find everybody that's better? And how do you get them to work together under a unified mission? So, 5-6 years ago, that's probably when it clicked in for me. And I really had to do some personal work and kind of reprioritize what I wanted from building an organization. And that ever since then, that's kind of been our focus.
It is so refreshing and so spectacular that you stated that. 2 more questions for you. And I want to know, throughout your career, what do you think is the singular smartest collaboration that you've ever experienced?
Okay. The smartest collaboration
I'll take both.
I've ever experienced. Well, to be honest, I would have to say that the best collaboration that I've ever done has been with the partners at CiteMed, which include my father. And the family business is often a very sensitive subject for people and can be very emotional and have problems. But for me personally, I experienced none of those pitfalls. I experienced all of the benefits, the loyalty, the trust, the shared mission, the open collaboration. It's the sharing of skill sets and experiences. Finding people to partner with that have skill sets that are complementary to you seems like an obvious thing. But most people tend to gravitate towards working with people that do the same thing and think the same way because it's comfortable. And, Ed, my partner, he thinks in a completely different way because he's a regulatory person and I'm a technical person. I'm an engineer. And so being able to combine those two skill sets and kind of the vastness of our separate experiences was the most powerful and effective way to build a product that is essentially revolutionary in an industry. So it's kind of the only paradigm of partnership and collaboration that I'm even willing to accept now. The person has to be, they have to be the right personality fit, but they have to have such an opposite set of approaching the world and set of experiences. And the strength in being able to bring those two together without tension or conflict or ego is, it's kind of been the cornerstone of why this company's been successful. And, I guess it's just kind of been a realization for me personally that that's kind of how it's done. That's what you should be seeking out. Those different opinions, those different sets of experience. Without it, you'll always be kind of refined to your little world, and you can't innovate in just your own little world.
Brilliantly stated, and I think that is the great wrap up for CiteMed. You guys are strong because you're so different. You're You brought together super talent to solve problems.
I would say so.
And
the biggest impact, right?
Think,
the biggest
Ethan,
impact for the most number of
that
people.
That you are in the business of significance.
What better industry than the medical industry that directly benefits people?
You got it. You are in the right place at the right time. Congratulations to you and your co-founder and dad for coming up with CiteMed. I appreciate you being on today's show. You're welcome back anytime. Well, thanks again to Ethan Dreyer for being on. His company is CiteMed. And, folks, we hope you have a good week. And as we always say, along your fast, busy chase for success, we hope that you stop and do something significant. Have a good one.